Good evening. Signal number 1 is raised in Davao Oriental after the low pressure area east of Mindanao developed into a tropical depression named Querubin. Based on Pagasa's 5 p.m. weather bulletin, Querubin was last spotted 215 kilometers east-southeast of Davao City or 245 kilometers east of General Santos City. It carries maximum sustained winds of 45 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 55 kilometers per hour. Querubin is moving slowly south-southeastward. Signal number 1 is raised in Davao Oriental, where very light or no damage to low-risk structures and a light damage to medium to high-risk structures are expected to occur. Querubin is forecast to move east-northeastward while slowly moving away from Davao region over the next 12 hours before turning northward by Wednesday, December 18. The weather disturbance will then traverse Mindanao and Palawan area from Wednesday afternoon until Sunday afternoon, December 22. Querubin may remain a tropical depression before weakening into a remnant low by Wednesday. President Bongbong Marcos says the government is already celebrating Mary Jane Veloso's return a day before her actual arrival. In a chance interview on Tuesday, December 17, Marcos says the country is already celebrating Veloso's return. 14 years after being arrested and sentenced to death in Indonesia, the Department of Foreign Affairs announced on Monday, December 16, that Veloso will finally return home on Wednesday, December 18. Malacanang also confirmed Veloso's imminent return, citing a decade of persistent discussions, consultations, and diplomacy. Upon Veloso's arrival, she will be brought to the Correctional Institute for Women in Mandaluyong City. The palace earlier reiterated that Marcos has yet to decide whether or not he will grant Veloso clemency, stating that his main priority right now is preventing delays on Veloso's return. Veloso was arrested in 2010 at Yogyakarta after she was found in possession of 2.6 kilograms of heroin. She was sentenced to death but was spared in 2015 after Philippine officials asked then Indonesian President Joko Widodo to allow her to testify against members of a human and drug smuggling syndicate in Manila. Several Philippine government officials are now in Indonesia ahead of the turnover of Mary Jane Veloso, a Filipina inmate on death row in Indonesia who spent 14 years in prison for drug trafficking. In a message to INQUIRER.net on Tuesday, December 17, Department of Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Eduardo de Vega says he, along with other DFA officials, arrived in Indonesia on the evening of December 16. According to de Vega, they are set to meet with officials of the National Bureau of Investigation and Bureau of Corrections who are also in Indonesia. De Vega says the turnover of Veloso to the Philippine delegation will take place on Tuesday evening. The DFA earlier confirmed that Veloso is set to arrive in the Philippines on Wednesday, December 18 at around 6 a.m. Veloso's estimated time of departure in Indonesia is 12:50 a.m. on Wednesday. In 2010, Veloso was apprehended in Yogyakarta after she was found in possession of 2.6 kilograms of heroin. Veloso maintained she was unaware of the contents of her luggage as it was only given by her recruiters identified as Julius Lacanilao and Maria Cristina Serio. The Department of Health says that the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation Board of Directors has approved its 284 billion peso budget for 2025. In a statement on Tuesday, December 17, the DOH notes that the approved budget is 10% higher than the 259 billion pesos allotted for 2024. DOH Secretary Teodoro Herbosa says the board approved higher benefits and a budget for 2025 that recognizes the need for PhilHealth to spend more so that families will spend less. In the 2025 budget includes 271 billion pesos allotted for benefit expenses, which is 11% higher compared to 2024. This increase includes board-approved increases in case rates, Z benefits, PhilHealth Consulta at 1,700 pesos and 2,100 pesos capitation per person, and 156 hemodialysis sessions at 6,350 pesos per session. The increase also includes funds for emergency care, outpatient mental health, severe acute malnutrition, and other outpatient packages. Despite the increase in the budget for benefits, the board approves an increase of only 3% for PhilHealth's administrative expenses from 12.1 billion pesos in 2024 to 12.5 billion pesos next year. Meanwhile, the board also approves the increase of as much as 50% in selected case rates, in addition to the emergency care benefit, glasses and optometric services for children, open heart surgery, benefits, and pediatric cataract extractions. Last December 11, Senator Grace Poe said that PhilHealth will get zero subsidy in 2025 due to its 600 billion pesos reserve funds. She also said that the agency's budget is among the contentious provisions of the 2025 budget bill. The National Bureau of Investigation files cases for falsification and violations of the anti-dummy law against dismissed Bamban Tarlac Mayor Alice Go and 4 members of her family. NBI National Capital Region Regional Director Ferdinand Lavin says the complaint is related to the family's 3Q Farm Incorporated in Pangasinan. Aside from Go, her 2 siblings, Sheila and Shimen Go, are also included in the complaint along with their parents Li Wenyi and Jian Zhonggo. According to Lavin, Go and her family members have falsified the articles of incorporation, the secretary certificate, and the general information sheet. Lavin says that they also misrepresented themselves as Filipino citizens. He adds that the NBI was able to establish that Go, her siblings, and parents are Chinese citizens based on forensic examination of the fingerprints as appearing in various documents. Furthermore, Lavin says that they also lied when they said that they are residents of a place in Bulacan. According to Lavin, the NBI will also proceed with a forfeiture case. Initially, Lavin says that parcels of land in Mangatarem, Pangasinan will be covered by the forfeiture. Department of the Interior and Local Government Secretary John Vic Remulla formally closes down the Philippine offshore gaming operator hub in Island Cove, a property in Cavite that his family once owned. Remulla certifies the shutdown of the facility during a visit with personnel of the Philippine National Police, the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission, and other government agencies on Tuesday, December 17. In an interview with Remulla, he says that the local government assessed the Pogo hub after it ceased operations last November 30.
Well, as promised, sinabi namin na December, pupunta kami dito para pakita na sarado na lahat, na susundin ng directives ng Presidente na sasara lahat ng Pogo. Pero as per the LGU administrator nung last week ng November, nag-inspect na sila dito at wala nang operations talaga dyan sa loob.
The inspection came 2 weeks before the December 31 deadline set by President Bongbong Marcos to shut down all Pogos in the country. The Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission identified the Pogo hub in Island Cove as the largest in the country. According to the compound's outgoing General Manager Ron Lim, the 36-hectare lot had 57 buildings and 15,000 workers. Lim says that the complex was repurposed into a residential and office mixed-use property and applied for building permits with the local government. He adds that the Pogo hub was granted its license in January 2019. The DILG chief said that the Remulla family previously owned the property as a resort operating from 1976 to 1985, then from 1998 to 2018. Remulla also says they sold the compound and transferred ownership of the company's shares. Remulla again denies any involvement of his family in the Pogo hub, saying that neither of his brothers, Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla and Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation Director Gilbert Remulla, approved the operation of the Pogo hub. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.